All right, let's get right into it. For this explainer, we're going to tackle a really huge idea, one so fundamental it asks us to question the very world we live in, civilization itself. We're going to explore a completely different way of thinking about how we can live, drawing from thinkers like Daniel Quinn.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of it all. This belief feels, well, it feels less like an opinion and more like a law of physics, doesn't it? It's this deep-down assumption that civilization is the pinnacle of human achievement and that we have to protect it no matter what. And that right there is the big question, isn't it? What if this thing we take for granted, this thing that feels so permanent, is actually just a story? A really, really old story that we've been living inside for so long, we've totally forgotten it's just one way to be. To really get this, we have to talk about something Daniel Quinn calls mother culture. You can think of her as this constant voice that's been whispering in our ears since the day we were born, telling us this is just how things are. She's what makes the way we live seem like the only way anyone could live. So Quinn frames all of human history as a tale of two very different groups. First, you have the takers. That's pretty much us, members of the big global civilization. Our story is that the world belongs to us, and it's our job to tame it and run it. Then you have the leavers. These are all the other cultures, many of them tribal, who see themselves as just one part of the world, living with it instead of ruling over it. Okay, so what's the big problem with this taker way of life? Well, the way Quinn sees it, it's built like a giant pyramid, a structure that, it turns out, is fundamentally flawed right from the bottom. Let's take a look at that foundation. And it all starts right here, with a totally new way of thinking about food. This isn't just about farming. It's an aggressive new philosophy that says all the land and everything on it should be used for one single purpose, to produce as much human food as possible. It's the difference between a diverse community garden and a massive, single-crop farm that stretches as far as the eye can see. And once you have that, a chain reaction kicks off. First, all that agriculture creates a surplus of food. You gotta store that surplus somewhere, right? Well, that stored food is now wealth. And wealth needs to be protected, so you create a class of guards. Then, of course, you need people to manage the guards and the wealth, and boom, you've got owners and rulers at the very top. Everybody else, they become workers, laboring to keep the whole thing going. And that right there is the blueprint for hierarchy. And here's the inevitable result. By its very design, this pyramid structure creates massive inequality. The folks at the top do incredibly well, while most people at the bottom struggle. And this has been true for every civilization in history. You see, it's not a bug in the system, it's the main feature. So if the pyramid is the problem, then what's the alternative? Well, let's take a look at the social model that worked for humans for hundreds of thousands of years before this whole pyramid thing got started. First things first, we gotta throw out all those old stereotypes that mother culture taught us. Tribalism isn't about being primitive or living in caves. It's a highly sophisticated social structure. In fact, it's the most successful and longest-lasting social organization humans have ever come up with. It's a proven system. And when you put the two systems side by side, wow, the contrast is just staggering. Civilization's rigid hierarchy is replaced by a more flexible, non-hierarchical structure. Instead of benefits flowing to the top, they're shared by everyone. Instead of working your whole life, many anthropologists found that tribal folks often only worked a few hours a day, and they had a kind of community security from birth to death that is almost unimaginable for most of us today. This quote just nails the fundamental difference in what each culture values. Our taker culture is obsessed with knowledge about things, how to build better gadgets, how to control resources, how to manage the planet. Leaver cultures, on the other hand, spent their energy accumulating knowledge about what works for people, how to live together, resolve conflict, and create stable, happy communities. So, if the pyramid itself is the problem, how do you fix it? You'd think the answer is to tear it down, right? But history shows that just ends up putting new people at the top of the same old pyramid. The idea here is something way more radical, to just walk away. Now, this isn't a revolution in the way we usually think about it. No barricades in the streets. It's more like a quiet, slow-motion revolution. Think of it like the agricultural revolution or the industrial revolution. It's a gradual social shift where people just start creating new ways to live and work together, forming new kinds of tribes based on shared values. Okay, and this part is absolutely crucial. Walking away does not mean we have to smash our phones and go live in the forest. It's not about giving up science or technology. It's definitely not a violent movement. And it's not about abandoning important ideas like democracy or human rights. We can take all the good stuff with us. So if it's not about tearing things down, what is it? It's about building. It's a creative act.
It's about building new, healthier ways of living and working right here, inside the current system. Think of things like worker-owned businesses, local food co-ops, or community land trusts. As more and more of these alternatives pop up and work, the old pyramid just gets weaker, because fewer and fewer people are holding it up.
So what does this world full of new tribes actually look like? Well, the most important thing to understand is that the goal isn't to replace one big system with another one-size-fits-all system.
A life beyond civilization isn't some detailed blueprint for a new utopia. It's more like an open door, an invitation to explore and experiment. It's about creating a world where thousands of different ways of living can all exist at the same time, each one fitting the people and the place where it is.
And this quote really says it all. This is the core philosophy. The ultimate point is to finally let go of the most dangerous idea our civilization has. The idea that there's only one right way for everyone to live. A truly healthy future for humanity is one that embraces diversity.
Look, this is obviously a massive idea, but change can start small. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. In your own life, what's one piece of that big, unsustainable pyramid you could start to step away from? What new, more supportive, more equitable thing could you start to build instead? The revolution, as they say, might just start with you.